Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Of course, I'm back with another video. This time I figure I share my Optimus Prime. This is a Studio Series 86, long awaited. I got mine via Big Bad Toy Store. Took them a while to get it in. I think right now it's widely available on their site. I did pay this like $90 plus tax here in the US. Again, I am not affiliated with Big Bad Toy Store, but that's where I get some of my Transformers. So figure I just share. Awesome box looking there. Hasbro definitely knows how to tug at the heartstrings. This is definitely made for folks, that were very familiar with that 86 movie. You got Optimus coming in the truck mode, right? Transforming midair, and then of course hitting that iconic pose that a lot of Transformer fans are in love with, including myself. So very appropriate that they chose this scene. They knew what they were doing. Awesome box there, and of course you got Optimus here with the trailer and the accessories, and of course the vehicle mode, Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Over here on the top, you've got him with some of the effects that he comes with that are meant to emulate this whole scene, which is really cool. Here on the left, we've got Optimus himself, and then on the right, same thing, Studio Series 86 going on. And then on the back, we of course have the figure itself in bot mode, his accessories, the trailer itself, his truck mode, and of course we do get a background that I'll show you in a second. But overall, this is a really nice box. I'm really debating on if I want to keep this or maybe perhaps just cut out the front and keep this, because the artwork is really nice. I unfortunately don't have room for boxes, but this one's really cool. So I'm going to open this up and give you guys a look. Okay, moving on here with Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. We're going to go ahead and get started. What are you all getting here, right? You see that awesome background there? Of course, that is from the Studio Series, from the 86 movie, rather. The scene when Optimus arrives in the shuttle and then he drives in and just completely wipes the floor with the Decepticons. Again, very iconic scene. I'm going to try and keep this, maybe sort of try to integrate this into one of my displays, because that whole diorama background is pretty cool. Of course, you can use this for photography, or if you display your figure in your collection, you can have Optimus Prime standing there. Of course, you do get the figure and the trailer. We'll cover those in a bit, but just to get the stuff that comes in the box, of course, you do get your instructions, which I would recommend you review, because the transformation, not super complicated. It does have some intricate steps sometimes, but yeah, something you can look at. So we'll put those aside. Accessory wise, what do we get? We get this little thing. I forget if it's named anything specifically, but this goes attached to his trailer. It becomes like a mounted like gun turret or like a repair bay. He's got a little claw here that you can use, and then he's got this little thing here. I never quite knew the name of this specifically. I don't know if we saw it too much in the show. I know we did not see this in the 86 movie. This is more the G1 cartoon show that this was featured in, and I don't know that it was featured in it too much, but as you guys could see, it can extend. Optimus can use this as a turret, and then it can also be used, as I said, as some kind of repair bay. And this can neatly go stored in the truck, in the trailer rather. So that's a really cool, neat accessory here. I don't know if you guys could see it done in this nice blue and gray. Definitely fits apart really well with this clear blue plastic window. So really nice accessory there. Next thing is, of course, if you're going to have a fully decked out Optimus, you have to have Roller. And here is Roller. Reminds me a lot of the Masterpiece figure, at least the Roller that came with that. You've got your ports here to attach weapons, and in this case the gun. You could probably also fit the little mini figures that came with the Masterpiece figures in here. This guy is made out of gray plastic, painted this really nice shiny silver there, and there is some nice line work and detailing added there and on the seats as well. And you've got this 6 plastic wheels here that all roll pretty well without any issue. So again, if you're going to have a fully decked out Optimus with the trailer, you definitely need a Roller here, and as his name implies, he rolls pretty well. So again, really cool. Moving on, of course, can't have Optimus without his iconic ion blaster, ion rifle. his gun. But again, great job here. Gunmetal gray. You got some lighter gray here painted on these fins on the back. And yeah, the detail they've added into there is really cool. The line work, definitely, you know, Optimus's main weapon, which is really cool. Really well done. This doesn't fold or anything. I guess that could be seen as a bit of a drawback, but it can be stored in the trailer. I know the Earthrise version, the rifle was able to fold in. Same thing, I think, with MP10. But again, no complaints from my end. I think this is awesome looking figure, and it's appropriately sized to the character, I would say. So really cool. The other thing is, speaking of weapons, is of course, we've got the Energon axe. This is made out of softer plastic. I know in other versions of Optimus that we've gotten, this is like a shinier, more sturdy plastic. This is not bad. I'm assuming, of course, they made this of softer rubber to avoid children getting hurt. I mean, this 40-year-old child won't get hurt, but again, I wish they would have made this out of a harder plastic, but it's not badly done at all. And again, you've got your port here, so you can attach this to Optimus's hand, and he can start fighting Megatron or chopping up the Decepticons. This, I don't believe, was featured in the movie. I could be remembering correctly. I remember this more from the G1 show, from the actual cartoon, one of those two seasons or 3 seasons. But again, really well done. And you've also got a little port here, a little hole. That is to help you attach this in the trailer. So you'll see a lot of that. Everything that the accessories that Optimus comes with, everything can be stored in that trailer, which is really cool. And then lastly, we get 2 of these, what are these, like laser shooting effects, whatever you want to call them, done in the same orange as the axe. These are really cool. You've got ports here, so this can go on the gun. So essentially you can take his rifle and attach them right there, and it looks like something like that, like he's shooting. So that's really cool. I haven't yet tested if these can fit anywhere else. I'm assuming they can, but as far as the effects themselves, they're made of that softer plastic in the orange. I love the color. I love the way they're done. As I said, they have the port here to attach to the gun. They also do have a little hole here as well, so these can also be stored in the trailer. But overall, I think they're done well. If I had a complaint, I guess, about these, is they're made of softer rubber. So when they were in the box, they were a little warped. So I don't know, you know, in some cases yours may be a little bent. Mine definitely are. They're not straight. So I may need to go ahead and do some warm water and some sculpting, which is rather unfortunate. I wish this would have been made of like thicker, more sturdier plastic, but you do get 2 of these. And wrapping up the accessories, you get these 2 effects. These are meant to emulate, again, that scene in this backdrop where Optimus comes rolling in his vehicle mode and just flies up. These fire effects come up from underneath and he goes flying into the sky and transforms. These are made of harder plastic. This is a harder plastic that I wish the axe and the fire effects would have been made of. These come in technically 2 pieces. You see them there, and you kind of put them together like this. So these are really cool. Again, they stand there, you know, on the pretty flat. I'll show these off once we get to the truck mode there. Okay, so now let's move on to this awesome trailer here. Looking really cool. One thing I immediately noticed is the gray that they use. It's a little darker than what's on my MP10 and MP44 and even the Siege version there. But again, this is, I think, very similar to what was in that 86 movie. So looks pretty cool. Starting off here, you got some nice detailing here. The circle, some nice line work. The lighter gray here, stripe with the nice Autobot symbol on the side. Plastic quality feels really nice and sturdy. So again, that's really cool. You've got here on the bottom, you've got your legs to stand the trailer on when he's not attached to Optimus. You got an attachment point here to attach to the vehicle mode for Optimus. You've got these additional legs, and that's because this base opens. So essentially you can swing these out and put them on like this. So you swing that out and you swing this down, and then essentially that gives you more stability for when you flip these open. The wheels, unfortunately, these are plastic wheels. Would have been nice to have rubber wheels, but we don't. They don't look terrible. They look really nice. But again, this being Optimus Prime would have been nice if, very similar to Beachcomber, we would have gotten rubber wheels. So you've got this little container here, and I call it a container because this is actually storage, which again is pretty cool. Reminds me of, I think they did the same thing in Rodimus Prime. The Kingdom Rodimus Prime had a nice storage bit underneath it. And the way this works is you go back here and you can see this nice door. They've done a nice little handle here, sculpted into there. And you've got the, you know, the bumper with the lights. No complaints there on my end. That is really cool. But essentially you're going to take this and you have to unclip it. It's a little hard on mine, but once you unclip it, what this allows you to do is allows you to swing this compartment down. And you got a nice little storage. The instructions do say that what's supposed to go in here are these flame effects. And they do fit in really well. I'm assuming if anything else could fit in here, you could add it in there. But the flame effects here are pretty much what's supposed to go in there. Once you get them in, everything fits in. You kind of tab that in. You can hear it jiggling in there, but you got storage for your effects, which is really cool. Over here on the other side, similarly to the driver's side, same nice darker gray with the lighter gray stripe and the Autobot symbol. But overall, no complaints on my end. This trailer is a right size for the size of Studio Series 86 Optimus, so that's really cool. The doors back here, of course, they do open, so you can take that. You end up with something like so, and you can roll your Autobot cars in there. So that's really cool. Of course, we can take Roller and he can roll in there. You can take his other accessories and shove them in there, which I'll show you in a second. But essentially what then happens is once you get this ramp open, if you wanted to, you can open this up. And that's essentially what these extra legs are for, so that when you display it like this, you could use this as like a base, right? Like a battle base or something. So you could take, for example, this little station here, this cannon as I call it, and tab it into these two holes here, and boom, you've got this thing already. For one, you have it stored, but then you also have it as a little base cannon / shooting thing that he could use there. So that is really cool. Things like, for example, Roller here can be stored. This guy has to be here put into these two sections of the trailer, but then you'll see there's two tabs here on the bottom that you could take Roller and store them. You just gotta tab them in. Just doing this a little bit, and essentially that allows you to store Roller in there, get him out of the way. This also will allow you to fit one of the cars. I believe the smaller ones, right, can fit in here if you have them. And as I said, the cool thing is all these accessories have little sections that you can put in and store all these little things. You can take these laser effects, I'm going to call them, and there is a little nub here and a section for these to sit in. So if you wanted to, you just gotta try to find them. I'm doing this a little blind, but there we go. Once you get that in, you could take that and sit it in there. Same thing here on this side. If you can find a little hole there, tab that in, and you've got storage for your fire effects. Then you can take the axe here, same thing. This has a little nub, so if you wanted to, you could take this up here and just make sure you line up the little nub. So once you get that in there, the axe kind of sits in place without any major issue. You can then condense all this back down. Let's condense all of this back down like so. We can reattach Roller here so that he sits in place. And then of course the last thing to do here is the gun itself. There is a little section here, this, to attach into there. And if I remember the instructions correctly, it's supposed to attach something like so. So that'll sit there, and as you guys can see, everything kind of sits in place really nice and neat, which is really cool. You don't have to put your accessories up and away in a little baggie and potentially losing them or having a hard time finding them. They all sit in place, which is awesome, right? And then you could take this and close it, and boom, you've got a nice storage space for your accessories. So even if you don't plan on displaying Optimus in his vehicle mode, maybe you plan on putting the trailer away, you now have a nice storage for your accessories, which I think is really cool. Just trying to mess around with this here, and yeah, but overall, I mean, this is awesome. I think a nice right size trailer, nice colors, good storage options, and yeah, looks pretty much apart. Looks pretty awesome here. All right, guys, so I showed you the accessories, I showed you the background, showed you the awesome trailer. Now let's move on to the main figure here. Of course, Mr. Optimus Prime from Studio Series 86. I've been playing with this thing for quite a bit now, and I am thoroughly impressed. But before we move on with the figure, let's get the, I guess, negatives out of the way. First, for me is the smokestacks here. They look fine. They're just a little loose, and a lot of times when you're trying to pose this guy or when you're transforming him, these things tend to get in the way. They do move. I'm assuming it's to make the transformation easier, but once you get them in place, they can tend to be a little loose. What I do again is I kind of pull them out slightly. That seems to kind of give them a bit more pressure so they stay in place a little better. But I really wish they could have used just a better, I don't know, mechanism to have these be a bit more solid when they're supposed to be standing like this. The other thing is the misassembly here with the feet, the back of the feet anyway. So I believe a lot of the figures that have been released so far, at least here in the US, have this issue where essentially the heels in the back are flipped over, right? So essentially this one should go here and this one should go here, but this section specifically should be facing the bottom. Now there is a pin in there. You can push this out with a pin, and I'm sure you can find plenty of instructions online. I myself don't know if I'll be doing that. I don't want to cause any stress on the figure, but that is rather unfortunate that mine do have the misassembly issue like many others do. Now, does it bother me? Not really. I mean, it's on the back. Yes, it should be correct from the factory. Unfortunately, it's not. But as I said, I don't think it bothers me enough that I would make that change. And then, of course, the other, I guess, bit of a negative here would be the backpack, right? There is no way around that. He does have a backpack here that it's kind of, you know, depending on your point of view, a bit unsightly, right? Like the back is kind of just sort of hanging in there. You could see here from the side some of the bits from the truck mode. So it is there. It doesn't look too bad here from the top. It looks very nice and neat with this cover they put there. It's just more the side profile for me. Wish they would have somehow found a way to cover this up. Like, I get why he needs a backpack, right? This whole chunk here is essentially the front of the cab. But yeah, he does have a backpack. Now, the good thing is from the front profile, it doesn't get in the way. So I don't mind it so much. And again, haven't played around with it so much so far. You know, yes, it's there. Yes, it's kind of unavoidable. But in all honesty, I don't think this kind of takes away from the enjoyment of the figure for me. Other than that, that is pretty much it. So the positives is that this is pretty much a masterpiece figure. Again, I know this has been going around for quite a bit. So this is so moving on to the great things about this figure is this is pretty much a masterpiece figure, very reminiscent of MP44. And again, this is based on the movie and then of course the G1 cartoon. But I think what they've managed to accomplish here in the smaller package and sort of giving us that more screen accurate Optimus at this size, it's pretty awesome. I gotta say, it's pretty awesome. Starting off here, I'll give you a look at the head. And I do like it. It's an awesome head. You can move the antennas back and forth. I think they're kind of meant to stay in place. As you'll see during the transformation, I tend to move these just to give it a bit more room. But I don't mind the head. In pictures, when I saw this head, I wasn't a little too crazy about it because it didn't look too good. But in all honesty, I like it. It does look a bit more toy accurate rather than Studio Series 86 accurate. But it's good. It's an awesome head. And of course, you can turn the head fully around. He can't really look up or down too much. But yeah, no complaints on that end. Of course, you move on. You got the classic red with the windows here, clear blue. And you've got, of course, the gray stripe with the grill. No issues there. Everything looks pretty cool. Again, the whole profile of the figure from the front, it's just absolute greatness in my book. And of course, you got here the arms with the Autobot insignia on that's the left arm. And yeah, the red, the blue, it's all really, really well done. Articulation wise, this guy can pretty much stretch his arms this way. You can move the arms back. There is an extra clicking thing there that you can play with. The arms can rotate here at the shoulder. They can also rotate here at the bicep, and that's actually part of the transformation. You've got your elbows, which is just a single joint 90 degree. You got the hands here. And again, you've got your articulated fingers, which is awesome. I'm glad to see this on the smaller scale figures. And again, it's not just the whole 4 fingers, right, on a figure, because this is Optimus and he's got to be able to point at people or point at Megatron or Galvatron. He can do that on both hands. As you guys can see here, the smokestacks, they kind of move, they are articulated, so but they kind of get in the way sometimes. Your waist here, you can fully move it around, complete 360. So again, no issues there. So articulation wise, pretty awesome so far. There is articulation here on the waist, and you've got that nice white color with the yellow accents, but you also have these hip skirts, so you can use to move out of the way. There's also a hip skirt here on the back, so you can get those out and get your articulation going. So then moving on to the legs, you see you got the awesome matching white to the hip skirts on the legs. You got the nice line work, so that's really cool. These legs, you can move forward that much, you can move back that much. Optimus can do pretty much a full-on stretch at this point, and you've got your joint here on the upper leg. You can rotate this pretty much, you know, it kind of gets in the way once it gets here. Don't force it. But I think this is more than enough articulation, I think, for what we're looking for here. Moving on down, then we've got the knees, and the knees are nice and tight. They're not ratcheted, but they are, I'm assuming these are pressure joints, but they feel so good. That's so awesome. And then moving on to the legs, these legs, man, definitely masterpiece. They look great. I love the blue that they've chosen. It's such a nice contrast with the white that they've picked here, and the legs are nice and, you know, neat, right? No gaps. Everything's kind of closed. Everything's got a place to go into. You got the fuel tanks here, which look really cool, and everything's kind of, you know, in place. No gaps, nothing, which, you know, this is what Transformer figures should be. This is awesome, right? That they are able to do this for Optimus. So that's really cool. You've got the feet here in the front, no issues, and then obviously I showed you in the back. These are misassembled. It's a bit of a shame there, but man, everything's done so well. Like the blue, you know, no issues on my part. And as far as articulation down here, you've got your ankle probably about that much, which is more than enough that's needed. Yeah, but other than that, I think what's here, it's pretty awesome. You know, can't really, you know, I know there are little things like the misassembled feet and the backpack that, you know, will probably take it down a notch for a lot of folks, but for me, I think what's included here in this package doesn't take away from the enjoyment of this figure. So moving on the back, again, more of that cleanliness, like at least back here with the legs, you know, really no gaps. You've got this nice a section here for the back of the waist. And I think that's probably why the backpack kind of stands out a bit, is because you have all this other work being done to hide, you know, like the wheels are hidden here on the legs and everything kind of closes up and the panels are all nice and neat, so that when you get to the back, you kind of start to notice the backpack a little more, right? Because it's kind of just there when the parts are sort of hanging out. So, you know, again, doesn't take away from the enjoyment of the figure for me. The size of this guy is awesome. He feels great in hand. You know, again, he's very solid, so that is really cool. The articulations there, the looks are there, definitely top notch. And of course, this being an Optimus Prime figure, you can also open up the chest here. So you can open this up and you can open that up, and then you can flip this up and you'll see he of course has to come with a matrix here. Now the inside here is not painted, it's all just red plastic. Would have been nice if that was painted, but it's not. But you get your little matrix that he can take out and hold in his hands. So again, that is really cool. And then you put it back, close that, close that, close that, and boom, you are good to go. But yeah, this thing is a dream. I think at this scale, it's just awesome to that they've given us this Optimus Prime. Just want to go ahead and also show you the accessories here. So of course he can hold, you know, things like his rifle, and you can put on the the axe in play. This kind of just goes in the slot there that he has in his hand, and he can go ahead and start mowing down Decepticons there. And as I mentioned earlier, you could take these effects and sort of attach them to the gun, and boom, there you go. You've got your Optimus shooting down, you know, the Decepticons there. So that looks really cool. The other thing you could do is you can remove that. You of course can use the axe on either hand. In this case, we'll use it here, and there's a panel here on the arm. Then again, this is part of the transformation. You could take this, flip the panel all the way around, and it reveals a port there, or a little plug that you can then take the axe, plug the axe in, and you can close that, and boom, you're done. Now you've got your Optimus dual wielding. He's got his axe in place. You know, he can mow down Decepticons, have his fight with Megatron, but again, he does it looking really cool. And of course, one more thing that you could do is also place the trailer here vertically. You can have it open and sort of resting on its side, and you can use this as a, I guess, maybe a repair bay for Optimus, right? Or you could display him this way as well, right? You can stand him up here, you know, have him there, have the guy here repair him. You could also, as a, you know, you'll see these can also all be stored in there, so you can display your Optimus like this if you so choose. So again, more options. So let's go ahead and get going here with the transformation. First, we're going to start off with the arms. There's a panel here that you pull out. So you pull this open like so, and then you're going to swing the arm, sorry, the fist here in place. Just make sure that everything's kind of closed, pulled up like that, and then you can close that. So same thing here, you're going to take this, open this up. It's a little hard without any nails, but there you go. You pull this open, make sure the fist is all closed, and you swing that in place, and then you can close those. Next thing to do is you can get these slightly out of the way. They move all over the place when you transform this figure, but you're going to take these and just swing it all the way around so that it looks like that, and then you're going to bend the arm like so. So it looks like this. So I'll show you here. You're going to take this, swing it all the way around like that, and then fold this in. Then you can put these the smokestacks back in their place. Then you just kind of get them out of the way like so. And next thing to do would be here in the torso, there's this section here, this little panel. You're going to pull that up to get it out of the way. Same thing here. Get this out, and then there's a section here that's a little hard to get out of. There's this little panel here. I'll show you with this here. It's a little hard to get out. The instructions tell you to fold it out, but it's really hard for me to get my hand in there. So what I've been doing is just essentially taking the softened, rounded edge of a paper clip and pulling it out that way. Being very careful to make sure I'm not scratching anything, because that part specifically feels a little soft, but it's just a little hard to get out just with my bare hands. So essentially what I do is I hold this and sort of pull this up by the edge like so, and then that helps me to get it all the way out. Another thing you could do is, because this panel is going to move back, essentially it's going to pull out this way, you can just pull the panel back, but I'm afraid if you do that you'll round the corners of this particular section, so that's why I do it this way. So we're going to take this out, and you'll start to see that this backpack is pretty much the front of the truck here, right? So you could take this, fold it up, take these sections now, fold them out, and you can just leave them loose like that for now. We'll move on to the head here, which is probably one of the harder things to do here. Is you got to take this head panel and essentially turn it this way. I like to fold the antenna slightly forward to get them out of the way, but when you do that, you're going to take this whole head panel section and you're going to fold it in. This does not go in very easily. You have to apply some force, and in all honesty it can be a little scary because it kind of feels like you're going to break the figure. But that's why I move the antennas kind of slightly forward, and the same thing, I try to lean the head forward as much as I can and try to get it all the way. And it's supposed to sit flat. Right now it's just sitting like that. So take this extra panel that's here and just fold it out, and just make sure it's like straight like that. And once you get that in there, you'll start to see that this panel kind of stays like that. So you have to use a bit of force to get this in. You'll hear that little snap there. So that's how the head sort of fits in place at that point. So now that we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to take pretty much this whole section here and turn it. There's two places you got to turn this into. Right, you're going to take this and turn it this way, and then take this upper section and just turn it back, just the upper section. That's it. That's all you need. So then you're going to look something like this, right? The front torso is facing the back, and then on the front here you've got the whole what was the backpack now meeting the windows in front of the truck. So take this blue panel here and just fold it all the way down the legs, so you're left with something like that. Next thing is we're going to take this panel here and fold it up. So you're going to take this and fold it up like so, and then this will then allow you to rotate these two sections here of the torso forward so they can sit here. This is one of those iffy parts that I'm just a bit cautious with, perhaps having some stress on the blue plastic that you see there, but essentially you're going to pull this up and swing it so that it sits forward like so, like that. All right, so same thing here. Just be really careful. You're supposed to swing these forward like that, and then you do that so that it looks something like that at that point. Then you can take this upper panel here and just have it sitting out like so. At that point you could take these extra side panels here that we have lifted up. You can sort of just have them sitting down like so. This whole trailer section now hanging down, you're gonna slightly pull this down, and again there's another panel here, which is now this is the actual truck grill, and you're gonna pull this forward like so, and there's an additional panel here to fold out. So you're going to take that, make sure it sits straight, and pull this all the way in, and then that should allow you to swing this back in place like so. We're going to take these legs and undo them, just fold them back like so. And then usually I like doing the arms first here, so we're going to swing these essentially into place. You see there is a tab here that's going to go tabbed in this section, and then same thing here on this end. You'll see here there are tabs here on the inside of the arm that are going to get tabbed in here. So we're going to do a whole swing. So we're going to swing this back and then swing the arm in place, and that's going to tab into the tabs I just mentioned. So one is up here on this panel, and then the other one's on this arm here. They're gonna meet like that, and then you're gonna do the same thing here. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna swing this in place, swing this, just the upper section here, and we're gonna fit that in there. Just make sure again that you're tabbing this in up here, and that these arms are tabbed in there like so. Next thing to do is take this here, this panel hanging down, fold that out. Same thing here, take this, fold it out, and then you can fold this up, and then that will tab in like so. Take this too, and then at that point the front cab's pretty much done. There are a couple of things, random things in here that we need to do. So I like doing this last. You're supposed to tab these into the back of the wheels, but it kind of moves around. So next thing to do here is essentially the legs. So you're going to take these front panels, they're going to swing back essentially. You're going to take that, undo, you're going to take these, undo them, they're going to tab into here. So just fold that all the way in. So same thing here, take that, fold that all the way in. So once we fold these two panels in, next thing to do is there's two sections here that need to be brought forward, and this is why I have my trusty paper clip here. So just gonna take that and essentially pull this out here. I don't know if you guys saw that. This has to swing down, and then same thing here. You are going to take that, and you can, if you could push it forward like so, just trying to, like that, you're going to swing that down. Once you bring these two sections down, you're going to take the heels here, essentially fold them in like so, and then same thing here with the upper panels, these panels here, just fold them in, and then that will hold these two places, that new tab that you folded in place, and hold it in, and that will give you that. Next thing usually I like to do then is this, is you can just take this and fold it all the way out for now. Same thing here, take this, fold it all the way out. And before you do anything else here, there are panels up here on the legs. You're going to take these, and just to show you, these are going to tab. They're more like sitting in there rather than tabbing, but then these corner tabs here are going to tab into the back of the cab here. So you're going to have to do a whole deal here where you take this, and that's going to tab into the leg a bit, but then also you use it to hold the cab in place as well. So the same thing here. So that way both sections sit nice and flat, and they're tabbed into the cab there. While we're here now, next thing is these panels that we turned over. You're gonna have to turn them in like so, so that the red now faces out. And when you fold this in, you're gonna sort of hit the wheel. So just slightly bend this in, and then you could just push it in. There is a blue tab in there that's supposed to kind of help you seat it in place, so that it looks like so. And then the same thing here, right? So you're gonna take this, fold that, leave it a bit at an angle, because like I said, is when you fold this in, then you can finish with that, and then that should tab in. Kind of sits in place on my copy. It doesn't tab in too securely. There's also tabs here on the blue parts that attach to the leg, so just make sure those are tabbed in. That should help with getting a lot of this thing in place. So next thing to do would be here, the wheels. So just take these wheels and fold them out, and then you can fix these pretty annoying smokestacks that just spin in place. Usually I pull them out. That seems to cause some friction there so that they stay in place. And then lastly, as I said, these two sections here, the wheels are going to go tabbed in there. You could just slightly move these wheels out of place to get this section in. Just make sure you fold this all the way in. So just one here and then the other one here, and then that kind of taps in place like so. And yeah, then at that point you are done with the vehicle mode. So we're finally done here and into truck mode, and I gotta say, this thing does look awesome. Once you get everything tapped in, I had a bit of an issue with these lower panels and getting them in place, but once you get all that in, this thing looks great. I mean, look at the front. You've got the classic grille with the bumper, the yellow lights, these nice blue windows there. Looks really cool. You got the mirrors sort of hanging out there. Here on the left, you got the Autobot symbol. Same thing. You know, of course, you know, you're gonna get some line work and everything, so it does look really cool. I'm not too crazy about the fact that the red here doesn't match with the rest of the red over here. It would have been nice if this was a closer. This red here is a little darker than here, but that's more of a nitpick, at least on my end. It doesn't look terrible or anything, but it would have been nice if they matched a little better. You've got your wheels here, which are not rubber, plastic. Would have been nice if these were rubber, but again, these are plastic. I guess I got spoiled from Beachcomber, which I believe he had rubber wheels. You've got your gas tanks, fuel tanks, petrol, whatever you want to call it here, which look really cool. And again, more wheels. Nice blue color here on the legs, which is essentially now the back of the car mode. And then here's the back. A little bit of hollowness here, but I think it cleans up really well. And I think once you add the trailer, no concerns there on my end. These smokestacks, I think I mentioned the transformation, they do get in the way, and they can become a little loose. I tend to pull mine out slightly to create some bit of pressure so they stay in place. And then of course, the heels back here are misassembled. Again, I think I mentioned earlier, I won't be messing with them. You can, but it doesn't look terrible on my end. And then here's the backside, cleans up pretty well. I think that's all nice and tidy, so that's really cool. Same thing on this side as the other side, as the driver's side, except no Autobot symbol. But again, you got the blue and the red, and it all looks really, really nice. So, I mean, this is an awesome vehicle mode here. And of course, he is now in his cab mode, in his truck mode. So before I go ahead and show you the trailer, did want to show off these effects that I showed earlier at the beginning of the video that you can use to put on the bottom portion of the truck here. So you'll be able to tell by the way these are arranged. There's a little nub here that this essentially goes against the edge. So you're going to go under here and just make sure it fits in to those tabs right there, like so. And then same thing here. You're going to do that and just make sure that tabs in place like so. And you know, you'll be left with something like that. And then what that allows you to do is give you this look here. And of course the smokestacks keep moving. It's a bit of an annoyance on this figure, but there you go. And you're kind of left with this whole deal of Optimus sort of rolling in and flying up, taking off with these awesome flames or fire effects coming out of the bottom and sort of going up and transforming. So the other accessory that came with this guy here was of course his trailer. So we'll bring this in. There is a hole here for the trailer, and there is a little section here. This can go pretty much sitting in there. And then of course now you've got that classic Optimus Prime look. And again, this looks awesome. Again, this is not a masterpiece figure, but it's pretty darn close to it. You know, definitely what was in the 86 movie specifically. So a lot of the paint is very close to what was in that movie, if you're familiar with that show. So again, this thing looks great for this figure, and definitely looks the part, very masterpiece like. And again, this rolls in, you can turn the truck. So if you want to display this a certain way, like rolling maybe to the side, you can do that. And again, the trailer with the cab here just kind of brings it all together and looks really, really cool. So kudos again to Hasbro and Takara. At least this is probably one of my favorite truck modes for Optimus. I love the Masterpiece MP40 or 44, it may be, I forget the number, but this transformation is much easier. It's not as hard as that Masterpiece, that latest Masterpiece figure. So that to me it's a huge plus in my book here. But yeah, if you want to compare this to the Earthrise figure, I do have it here in truck mode, and again, here you go, so you could see them together in truck mode. Of course, the Earthrise figure here, he is much smaller, less not as big here as you can see as the Studio 86 figure. And of course, as I mentioned, the trailer is like much smaller. This is where it's at least for sort of like this whole Studio 86 thing going on here. And because I also do have a couple other figures here, I did have just trying to give myself a bit more room here, MP10. Now this is not the latest Masterpiece figure, but it's one of my favorite ones here. Now this is the again Masterpiece figure MP10, so I don't think that they sell this anymore. It's an awesome figure though. Is everybody's favorite Optimus Prime at one point, official anyway, so you guys could see them there in their truck modes. Of course, Masterpiece is much bigger, but I think these here look pretty close and pretty cool there together, you guys. But yeah, but overall, really happy here with the Studio Series 86. I think they've done an awesome job here. The trailer, the car, the cab, definitely looks the part. Again, my one complaint would probably be these smokestacks, which are very easy to move. I wish there was would have found a way to have these stay in place a little better. But I mean, other than that, this looks apart. You could display this like this and be plenty happy. Maybe you want to reenact that scene when he first arrives in the shuttle and starts running over Decepticons. So you can very well do that. Looks really cool. Thumbs up there in my book. Now let's move on to the all-important comparison, and right out of the gate, let's go ahead and start with Decepticons, starting here with Mr. Galvatron. So as you guys can see, Galvatron there is probably a hair taller, which I don't mind. I think a villain should be slightly bigger than the good guys here. We never actually see Galvatron and Optimus, at least in the 86 movie, together. But I think that looks pretty cool. I know we're getting a Studio Series 86 Galvatron, which is pretty much this, just with a slightly different color, purple. But there you go. That's how these two would look like next to each other. So that's that. We'll move him out. Since we're comparing bad guys here, here is Megatron. This is pretty much the Siege mold here. This is from the Fractured Friendship 2-pack there. And he is, of course, smaller. So I know we are also going to be getting a supposedly Studio Series 86 Megatron. So I'm going to assume he'll maybe be bigger than this one. So that's that. And then because I also have the other Megatron, this is the minor Megatron. This is again based on IDW lore, but it's based essentially on the Siege Megatron mold. So there you go. That Megatron is much smaller, so I think we'll probably need to get a bigger Studio Series 86 Megatron. We also have Cyclonus. That kind of works for me. There's Cyclonus and OP, so we'll move Cyclonus out. our boy Starscream. And there we go. That definitely works for me. This is the Earthrise, but they kind of essentially use that to make the Coronation Starscream from Studio Series 86. So that's that. We have one more bad guy here. Triple Changer, Blitzwing. Now I know Optimus is a big guy, but I really do think this Triple Changer should have been bigger. And I think, again, we are getting a recolor of this guy and Astro Train to better match the sort of Studio Series 86 colors. But I really do think Blitzwing here, being a Triple Changer, should have been a little taller, you know, than this figure that we have here. So that's that. Well, why not start off with Jazz? This is from that 5-pack that came out with a Hound in it. I forget the exact name of it, but that's Jazz. Here we have Beachcomber with his rubber wheels, and that looks really cool. We move Beachcomber out of the way, bring in Ironhide. Again, looks awesome there. We'll move Jazz out of the way, bring in Brawn. Again, more Studio Series 86. And let's bring in Bumblebee, right? If you have Optimus, you gotta have your Bumblebee here. Very tiny, but I think that definitely works for me. So we'll move Brawn out. Grimlock. This is the comic edition Grimlock here, but of course this is pretty much the Studio Series 86 mold. And again, that size scale works for me. I don't know about you guys, but I think that looks pretty great there. Now move Bumblebee out. We'll move Grimlock out of the way. And this is Ultra Magnus. He barely fits in the frame here. But this is the Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus here. And Magnus was always a much bigger bot. But this is humongous. I don't mind it too much, but you guys can see there, Ultra Magnus is just huge compared to Optimus. All right, so we'll move Ultra Magnus out of the way. The other Autobot leader here, Optimus Prime. I can't really remember. I seem to be under the idea that Rodimus and Optimus were the same height. So if you go by that thought, then this guy is shorter. So, you know, I don't know, maybe they'll do a Studio Series 86. This figure on its own is already great. I love this figure. I think size-wise, I know some folks may have an issue with Rodimus being, you know, that much smaller than Optimus, but there you go. And of course Rodimus comes with the similar hands, right, as Optimus, so really cool there. And then I think that's it. Now we're going to move on to the pure Optimus Prime comparisons here, starting off with some Orion packs. So here's Orion from the A Hero I Think Is Born 2-pack. Again, looking really cool. If we want to sort of divert to other Orion packs versions, then we'll move this guy out. Here's Orion from the Fracture Friendship 2-pack. It's based on the IDW. That looks so awesome, right? If you want to do like maybe a display with Orion and who he becomes. Granted, these are different versions, but still, I think it looks great. So we'll move Orion out. This is the older War for Cybertron Optimus Prime from that video game, right? This is one of the earlier figures there. Still looks pretty awesome, but of course he's tiny compared to Studio Series 86. But there is a newer version of this, which I do have right here. And this is the, again, Gamer Edition War for Cybertron Optimus Prime. And this guy does have some aftermarket or third-party upgrades like the legs and a lot of fillers. But yeah, height-wise, I think, there you go. That's what these two look like together. We'll move that guy out of the way. Optimus from the animated Transformers. And this is an awesome figure, by the way. So he looks even more awesome next to this other Optimus Prime here, the Studio Series 86. Looking really cool there. Next, we'll go ahead and bring in Armada Optimus Prime. Looking both really cool there. This is such a cool figure. So that's that one. So here is the I think this is SS102. So this is from Rise of the Beasts, the more recent Transformers movie before Transformers 1. This guy does have some, third-party add-ons, right? Like the feet, the cannon here. So I just want to show you. I really did love this design quite a bit. I mean, I'm more partial to the Bumblebee one, which I'll show you in a second. But again, you can clearly tell, right, who's who. So we'll move him out. And then speaking of the Bumblebee one, here's, I think this was SS38. Can't keep track of all these different numbers here. But this is the Bumblebee figure from the Bumblebee movie from the very beginning of that film. Again, you guys could see him there. Here's the missing link. I think this is CO1. I do have CO2 that comes with the trailer. So that's that. And that looks really awesome. I love the colors there on this guy. This guy has some die cast. So that's really cool. And then we'll bring in Siege Optimus with the this guy's got the more animation deco here going on. So that's what these two look like together. Of course, if you look at the back, this guy also had a backpack. I mean, the mode's all different, but the elbows also had a bit of kibble sort of hanging around. So looks like having a backpack. It's not a new thing to Optimus here. So we'll move this guy out of the way. One more comparison here is to the Earthrise Optimus Prime, which for a lot of folks, this was their Optimus in their shelf. At least I know for me, this was my Optimus that I had with all my other similar size Autobots and Decepticons. So this guy is still pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. I think he looks great. But I think when you bring him side by side with the Studio Series 86 here, no comparison in my book. This is a great looking figure. I think this is even a better one. The one thing that I appreciate about Studio Series here is that even though he does have that backpack, I think looking at it from the front, the backpack doesn't really get in the way of the overall shape of the figure. Whereas with Earthrise here, you're kind of running into the wheels, right? So if you turn this guy back, he has no backpack, but he has his wheels sort of hanging out the back. And when you look at him from the front, you could see some of that sort of hang in there. So it kind of takes a bit away from the overall shape of the figure itself. Other little touches like, you have the gray plastic sort of hanging out here on the legs, whereas here they're nice and covered. And you guys can see obviously the massive, not massive, but the pretty size difference there. So you guys can see that. Of course, like I said, is the Earthrise version doesn't have a backpack like this guy does, but I think the Studio Series 86 does a good job of making that look good there. But there you go. These are the two. And lastly, we'll bring in what I think it's pretty close inspiration for this guy. I don't have to fix the camera here a bit, but here is the Masterpiece MP44 here. Just trying to give you guys a better angle, and here we go. Right, so again, very similar. The legs, the color of the upper legs here, the waist, again, it's like they almost took this and shrunk it down and gave us this awesome Studio Series 86 figure, even right down to things like the backpack. Here they both have this backpack that they have to carry around, although the Masterpiece figure does a little bit of a better job of not having things sort of hanging in the back like this one does, but this one is a lot bigger. This one has some kind of voice thing inside, so that's why it has that. But just figure I show them both together so you guys could see. I mean, they kind of took the Masterpiece figure here and shrunk it down and gave us this awesome now Studio Series 86, which is now my definitive version on my shelf. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it for me. Let me know your thoughts. You know, are you getting Studio Series 86? Maybe you're happy just with Earthrise. You know, the figure itself is awesome. The accessories, the trailer, I think for the most part everything came out great. Obviously there are some gripes with the misassemble feet on the back, and of course he does have a backpack, so that is something you'll have to make compromise with. But overall, I mean, to me, in my opinion, this is probably one of the better Optimus Prime figures we've gotten. I think it's alongside like Animated Optimus, Armada Optimus Prime. It kind of just continues that tradition of awesome looking Optimus Prime figures. We get a Masterpiece sort of look in the smaller package, which fits you know, all their smaller scale robots. So overall, extremely happy with it. But if you made it to the end of the video, really appreciate you know, your time. If I missed anything, you know, feel free to leave a comment. Always glad to help folks. But otherwise, thank you so much for your very valuable time, and I hope you have a prime day. Take care.